Down. What's up, everybody? You are tuned into the Elks Call, your home for Edmonton Elks fan talk. My name is Scout, aka the Rep from Section X.
And I'm Catherine, aka Dave and Elks.
Coming to you live on Shotgun Sports Network with the replay airing on Edmonton Sports Talk. Kathy, how is your day going today?
Busy. I can't believe it's already been a week since the last episode, not gonna lie. Getting back into the swing of things is hard.
Oh, it is fast times here at the Elks Call.
My goodness.
And Shotgun Sports Network. We got new shows, we got new subscribers, new partners, and of course, new CFL talk. Football talk, all of that good stuff right about now. It is a new season. I'm not going to say same old Edmonton Elks after that loss because that was preseason, but we got all the goods to get you through these dog days of spring. It's not summer, it's spring, and we're sweating, so I guess we're in for a good summer.
Yeah, hopefully. I hope so.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for riding it with us. We can't thank you enough. Hit the like and subscribe buttons to show some love. Your support means everything to us here at Shotgun Sports Network. Let's go through the show schedule here. We got a bit of a big one, a little bit of a loaded show, stacked, as we would say in the past. We're going to open up this show with The More You Didn't Know, where we talk to our guest about a variety of topics. Then we're going to give you some Shotgun Sports updates, followed by Kathy's Herd Report, where we bring you the latest Edmonton Elks news and transactions. After that, we're going to give you an Edmonton sports update, and then we're going to give you Green or Gold, our new segment, which is our spin on Hot or Not. And then finally, we're going to open up the fan forum where we talk about hot topics surrounding the Elks and the CFL world as a whole. It's an interactive show, which means you, the viewer, get to get in on this. Blow up the Herd Chat, throw your comments and questions into the Herd Chat if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, and we'll be sure to get your comments or questions onto the show. All right, so we do have a guest, and we don't want to make our guest wait, so let's get the show rolling with The More You Didn't Know, where we talk to Jason Beisick about a variety of topics. This segment is brought to you by Royal Retros. Save 10% off your order by using code Shotgun Sports, all caps, no spaces. If you like throwbacks, you're going to love Royal Retros. They are the throwback kings, and they have CFLPA merchandise. CFL fans have been shopping with Royal Retros for years, and we hope you do too. Check them out, 10% off. Go save some money. Treat yourself. All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show the host of Stampeders Roundup. It is Jason Beisick. Jason, are you guys... Dude, are you guys scorching in Red Deer like we are here up in Edmonton?
It got up to, I think, 29 today. It's 24 right now still.
And I just saw 31.
Oh, my goodness.
we are cooking. We're all cooking here in Alberta. It's actually warmer here.
31 here tomorrow.
Yeah.
See,
31
exactly.
here tomorrow.
That's nutty. And I mean, it's actually hotter here right now than it is in Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
What are the odds?
Summertime.
That's
It
insane.
is summer.
Dog days of spring.
And I'm recording this in my trailer where it's probably right now 35.
Oh my goodness. No. Too much.
Cooking like that Herdy's menu. Once again, man, we're super thankful that you could carve out some time for us today, even if you do support the wrong Albertan CFL team. Let's dig in, shall we? Now, before we dig into the Elks versus Stamps game, our viewers know you from a show called Puck and Pigskin that was previously on Shotgun Sports Network. What happened to P&P?
Well, I got rid of one P. I got rid of the puck because everybody and their dog has a hockey podcast. So I thought, you know what, that's a very saturated market. So let's get rid of the puck. I still talk about the Calgary Flames in my Calgary Sports Update, of course. But yeah, just got rid of the puck. It was just too much to handle. And the CFL needs more focus anyway. I mean, the CFL needs more fan-sided media, and the Stampeders especially needed some fan-sided media. So I thought, you know what? Let's go all in on the Stampeders.
Yeah.
And have you found it to be a little bit more successful than covering the puck part?
I have actually. I've seen numbers rise steadily, and that's good. It also helps on the social media side because I'm now just keeping up with CFL fans, Calgary Stampeder fans, and not all over the place like a chicken with my head cut off covering hockey and football and everything. So it's a lot easier on social media. It's a lot easier doing the podcast, and yeah. So now we're Stampeders Roundup, and just want to also mention that it's no longer live. We do a recorded show now because it's much easier to do. It's much easier to produce, and it's just way easier for my schedule. So not live anymore, but still great Stampeders content.
Oh, definitely. We feel the pressure of going live. I will tell you. So we totally get it, but it's really good content. And, we are glad that you decided to focus a little bit more on the CFL because I agree. The hockey content that you see that is fan-sided is definitely oversaturated. There's a lot of it, and it's really hard to kind of make your way through that.
Well, like Jason said, everybody has a hockey podcast, right? Like a lot of people talk hockey, but not enough people are talking CFL, and this is our Canadian product we have up here.
Yes, we need more of
those.
So.
That's right. Not to mention, how could Alberta's best team not have that much coverage? So it was needed.
Yes.
This guy.
But you're here today to talk about a certain CFL team that we personally don't like, and a certain CFL game involving that team that we don't like. Yes. So the Stamps defeated the Elks by a score of 31-4, featuring Vernon Adams Jr. for I'd pivot for a quarter. So what are your thoughts on the Stamps starting quarterback now?
After seeing him finally suit up in a Stampeders jersey, although I won't put much stock into it because it's preseason and the Elks were in their first game. So, we're playing Elks third stringers, fourth stringers. So, but I mean, as far as Adams goes, he looked good to me. He was throwing darts, right? He didn't miss many targets at all, and there were a couple errant passes, and that was it. I mean, they're almost picked, but still, throwing darts. Obviously, has a favorite target, Dominique Grimes, of course, from their BC Lion days. But yeah, I was very impressed with Vernon Adams Jr., and I can't wait till he goes for real.
Yeah, he definitely balled out in that first quarter that he had. Now, another quarterback that we're all keeping an eye out on is PJ Walker. So he's fighting to become the backup in Calgary behind Vernon Adams Jr. Do you like what you see from PJ Walker so far?
Yeah, Walker had a great game. He was 13 for 19 for 138 yards and a touchdown. Now, he did throw 2 picks, and he's kind of infamous for throwing picks, but besides that, he had a great game. He was hitting targets. Very rarely did he miss a target. I think that 1 or 2 maybe, but a lot of the incompletions were receivers dropping the ball, and that's just new guys, trying to crack the lineup that are dropping those balls. So not on PJ Walker at all. I think he had a great game.
Well, and the Stamps also had Dedrick Mills and Joshua Antwi attacking the Elks with a rushing game. So is this going to be the 1-2 punch for the Stamps in the regular season?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the 1-2 punch with Mills carrying the bread for most of the season, I would say. Antwi being a backup. Mills had a good game, although he didn't see much action. He 3 carries, 5 yards only. He averaged 1.7? Yeah, 1.7 yards. His longest was 2 yards. I mean, not much there. Joshua Antwi, 5 carries for 39 yards, so he did a little bit better. I was impressed with what I saw from him, but then again, I was expecting him to be good and Mills to be. I expect Mills to be good this season as well, as long as he stays healthy. So, yeah, they'll definitely be a good 1-2 punch in the backfield.
Well, and presumed starter, right? Dedrick Mills, I think we all kind of agree that he's going to be the starter. So therefore, you don't really, especially in that game, don't really need to see a whole ton out of him.
No.
Joshua Antwi, though, and by the way, shout out Kathy for nailing that one.
That was good.
We all expect me to just completely butcher names around.
I barely nailed it when I was answering the question.
Well, and I screwed it up twice, 2 out of 2. I went 2 for 2 on the screw up. So, no, I mean, shout out to Kathy for that, but also shout out to Joshua Antwi, unfortunately, because he played a really good running game. And the Elks didn't really seem to have much of an answer for that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did we lose Jason?
He didn't have very long carries. He was 3 for 5 yards, 1.7 average. So
technical difficulties. Sorry, we lost you for a second.
Uh-oh.
We lost you for a second.
Just give me 1 second. And
there we go. And Jason is back.
This is the great part about doing this live.
I love it. This is hey man, technical difficulties happen. This is the joys of a live show.
You may
Yeah.
You may have to change your name again because now you're showing as Catherine and Scout.
Oh, I'm Catherine and Scout again. Hang on,
as much as we appreciate that, I'm not sure if we want to be really associated.
I mean, you guys could probably use a clone, right?
Oh my God! After this week, yes.
Yes, we could use a couple more arms for sure. Maybe a couple more brains, But yeah, no, the running game for Calgary, you can already see where that's taking shape, which is great. Now, talking about the defensive side of the ball, the Stampeders did hold the Edmonton Elks to 4 points in their second preseason game. So, keep in mind that the Edmonton Elks only had 5 or 6 starters on the entire roster for this one. But, this result, we're talking about 31-4 here. Is that result because of the lopsided rosters, or do the Stamps actually have a good defense this year? I'd love to know your thoughts on that, Jason.
I think they're going to have a good defense this year. I think it's going to be better than previous years. However, I think in this case, it was the lopsided roster mixed with a few good players, battling for spots. Looking at the stats, I don't see any incredible stats on defense. So, I mean, that just goes to show how much of the time Calgary's offense spent on the field, yes, and not the defense. So, I mean, we got Sean Peterson Jr. with a couple sacks, a handful of other guys with 1 sack. So, not really incredible numbers on the defense, but there's guys that are definitely going to have a great season. Micah Tates, I think, is going to do good this year. Sean Peterson Jr., I can see doing really well. I would say Ishmael Hyman. Hyman really impressed me in this game, although he's been released. So
I know, I saw that.
That was a huge shock to me.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you don't know. You don't know what it is that.
Yeah.
That makes them keep them. But special teams, they appear to be a cog for the Stamps once again. Despite losing special teams coordinator Mark Killam to the Elks. Thank you. Do you think the Stamps have any concerns this year on special teams?
I don't think so. I mean, René Paredes kicking field goals is always, a bonus. I believe did we release a punter yesterday? I can't remember now. Punters, I mean, we won't be punting the ball this much this year, so I'm not going to worry about punting.
I like that.
Confident, are we? Confident here.
But punt returns, I mean, Terrell Vaughn, I really liked what he did. He had 1 punt return, but it was 27 yards, very impressive. Benjamin did a great job as well. He's a running back, but I mean, he was returning kicks. He returned 2 for 37 yards, so an 18.5 average. So not bad. I'm not really worried about punt returning either. Nobody really has a really impressive punt returner anymore. I don't think I've seen a really impressive punt returner since Who was the guy in Hamilton? Banks?
Speedy B?
Was it Speedy B that was returning punts in Hamilton?
Brandon Banks, I want to say, if you are referring to a Banks.
I believe so. I mean, we don't have anyone explosive like that really in the CFL right now.
No, you're right. And especially here in Edmonton, there is a curse of Gizmo. We do talk about it. We talk about our inability to run that ball back into the end zone, right? So, yeah, I mean, especially on punts, kickoffs is a different story. It's a different formation. It's a different action altogether, we'll call it, right? It's a different play. But when it comes to the punts, have not seen anybody that is spectacular. But as far as special teams, Stampeders, unfortunately, kick a lot of teams' butts in that department. So, yeah, it's very interesting. I will also say shout out to everybody that is tuned in right now. You are locked into the Elks Call. Ryan Messer, we see you, host of the Forge on Top. What up, Ryan Messer? Okay, but speaking of Mark Killam, let's get back to Mark Killam, because he did come up north to Edmonton to take the head coaching job with the Elks. Do you think the Stamps could have kept him in Calgary, or do you think he was destined to take another role elsewhere in the 2025 season?
I personally feel that we could have kept him in Calgary. However, I don't believe we could have kept him with Dickinson still in charge. The only way I could have seen Killam staying in Calgary is if Dickinson gave up the head coaching job and stuck to general manager, and maybe Killam became head coach. That's the only way I saw him staying in Calgary, but it definitely could have happened. And in my opinion, I think it should have happened. I think both jobs on Dickinson's plate is a little too much in the last couple of seasons. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, we've seen how well that works for Chris Jones. That didn't quite work out. And I do actually have a question about Dave Dickinson coming up. So,
well, there you go. But before that, what are your expectations for the Stampeders this year?
I have higher expectations certainly than the poll I saw on social media today, where they had the Stampeders as long shots.
So interesting. Sorry, Jason. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Long shots in the West, finishing last. I think it was. That's crazy. I personally, I don't think they're going to tear up the West and win the West. Although my chat with Ryan Ballantyne, he said, "How can you honestly say that you expect your team to lose, or you want your team to lose?" I said, "I don't want them to. I'm just a realist. I expect them to lose a few games." He says they're going 18-0, but no, I think we'll be somewhere around 12-6, maybe 11-7. I think we'll finish second or third in the West.
See, 12-6. That's what I was saying about the Double E. So I don't know how many 12-6 teams are going to have in the West.
I don't know.
But it's interesting that you mentioned that graphic, because we have the odds right here. The odds makers have the Stamps at plus 600 to win a Grey Cup. The Elks at 430, plus 430, not minus. So that kind of goes to show where the faith is. I believe they had the Saskatchewan Roughriders at second best odds. And then I want to say the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the best odds, which means BC Lions in third, right? So really, really interesting to see where odds makers are at already. People are already placing bets on this. That's the landscape we're in right now. Yeah. But, the Stampeders have been dwindling near the bottom of the standings for a few years now with the Edmonton Elks. Now, this past offseason saw some teams make wholesale changes, such as the Edmonton Elks, while the Stamps did more of a retool on the roster and made a few changes with the staff. Do you think that this is a critical year for Dave Dickinson as GM and head coach?
Yeah, this is absolutely a critical year for Dave Dickinson. I think a lot of people were shocked last season when a lot of the coaches were let go at the hands of Dickinson. I personally thought that Dickinson, like I said, was going to go to the general manager role full time, and that we'd have a new coach somewhere. But I definitely did not expect the what happened with all the coaches leaving and Dickinson staying. So this is definitely a critical year for him, I think. I think we need to not only make the playoffs this year, but I think we need to do well. So it definitely will be an interesting season.
Yeah, and I mean, especially with grabbing Vernon Adams Jr., making some of these changes, I mean, the roster isn't necessarily bad. We just saw them post a 31-4. Now, once again, reminder that the Edmonton Elks barely had any starters there, barely had any big names.
It doesn't count as preseason.
Exactly, it's preseason. The result technically doesn't matter, but what does is the player development, right? Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
that's
I'm curious. I'm actually curious to know what your guys' thoughts are on Dickinson this season. Is this a critical year for him, you think?
Oh, I think he's in the hot seat. What about you, Kathy?
Yeah, he would have to be, especially after so many changes, right? If he's the only odd man out that stayed in, well, what does that say, right? You have to prove that you belong there. Otherwise, you're out.
Very valid. And I mean, I don't know the full extent. I know what the Edmonton Elks did. I don't follow the Stampeders that closely in that sense. But I did know that there were some changes. You've kind of just revalidated my opinion on that scenario down there. This is make or break. He is completely in the hot seat. Mm-hmm. And really, they're in a position now where if Dave Dickinson and the Stampeders don't win X amount of games this season, he may get replaced altogether mid-season. Do you think that that's a possibility, Jason?
I think it's definitely a possibility if it's a very slow start to the season. I mean, if we lose 4 or 5 out of our first 9, I think it's definitely a possibility before Labor Day. Definitely.
We're definitely familiar with that kind of territory, so we know it is possible.
Well, and as we say in the CFL, your season doesn't start until Labor Day.
After Labor Day.
So, yeah, Labor Day, you can't wear white after Labor Day, and you also can't lose any more CFL games after Labor Day if you're trying to get a Grey Cup.
If we don't have a winning record by Labor Day, I think it's a whole retool and start the season over at Labor Day with a new head coach.
Wouldn't that be painful?
Oh my goodness! But let's take it out of the CFL a little bit. We're going to point out that you live in a battleground city for sports fans, with fans that cheer Edmonton, Calgary, and of course Red Deer. What sports team is best represented in Red Deer these days?
God, I hate to say this, but it's definitely the Oilers for hockey. Football, it's hard to tell. I don't see a whole lot of football fans here. I'd have to say we're probably pretty split for football.
Yeah, I mean, the Oilers are on the run. If we saw Calgary in the playoffs and Edmonton wasn't, then you'd probably see a little bit more Flames action out there. But, yeah, I would assume so because the Edmonton Oilers are on fire right now.
Yep. Yeah, I would say. I mean,
and that could be like I seem to always see way more Oilers fans on social media. I always see way more Elks fans on social media. I don't know if it now that, of course, they like to mess with your algorithm. So if you look at one video, they show you a million more of the same content. So,
so we're gonna
naturally when I like posts that you guys post, guess what they're gonna show me? All kinds of Elks posts.
Yeah, right after this show, we're gonna get slammed with Stampeders posting content. So hopefully not, but I feel like that's the way that's gonna go.
We'll see.
Yeah, no. So another thing I'd like to talk about, we already had our fan day up here in Edmonton, down in Calgary. The Fan Fest is this weekend. So have you been to a Fan Fest before?
I sadly have not. Unfortunately, the thing about not living in the city that I'm covering and cheering for is I don't get to as many games as I'd like to, and I don't get to as many events as I'd like to. So I get to maybe one game a season, which is sad, I know, but I'm hoping to get to a lot more this season. And events like Fan Fest, I will be there this weekend.
Oh, that's awesome. What are you looking forward to at Fan Fest? Like, what do you want to see? What do you want to experience?
I just want to experience the fans outside of a football game, because when you're at a football game, everyone's paying attention to the game, everyone's cheering. You don't really interact a whole lot with other fans aside from the ones in your general area. So I'm going to have fun interacting with a lot of the fans, hopefully, and seeing them unveil the official 2025 roster. That'll be something I'm definitely looking forward to. Pancake breakfast. I'm always down for a pancake breakfast. So
that is always, that's always good. But that's interesting. You know, I kind of like that they announced the roster, the official roster during the fan day. That's one of the things that we were not really complaining about, but it was a big point of discussion for our fan day, is that a lot of the faces that we saw that day, we weren't sure if we were going to see in a couple of weeks from then. Right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because there's still going to be a lot of cuts. There's still going to be a lot of movements. Who are we? You know, we're getting autographs, and that's great and all, but who is it that won't be there in a couple of weeks? Right? So,
well, case in point, Mr. Steven Stevens and I shook hands and, you know, introduced each other and everything, and he just got cut like a couple days ago. And it's like, oh man, like I just got to know this guy. And to be honest, with our fan day up here, it's usually earlier. It's usually either in between preseason games or before preseason games even happen, which was this year. And it's frustrating because you don't know who's going to be on that roster, just like Kathy said, right? So luckily for you, you're going to be able to see the starting roster there. You're going to be able to interact with those players, I assume. But, you know, you're also not going to be meeting jobbers and talking to people that are just there for an opportunity. No, you're there with the team, which is really special.
Yeah, and I had toyed with the thought of actually live streaming the roster announcement, but then I thought, well, number one, I don't know when they're going to actually do it during the event. Maybe they're going to draw it out over the whole event, so that wouldn't work. And so I thought, okay, that won't work, but that was a great idea I thought of, but that's not going to work. So.
And I'm sure you're going to have to work with the Stampeders on that if you do want to do it. I mean, I would assume, but great idea. Now, the other thing too is, what if they start there, because they might do a red and white scrimmage or whatever, right? That's usually what these teams do at these events. It'd be cool if they announce the rosters there when they do the red and white, right? To kind of introduce them onto the field and get everybody a little bit more amped.
Yeah, and all the posts I've seen and press releases, I didn't see anything about a game happening, but I've seen live entertainment, interactive inflatables, face painting, giveaways, the roster announcement, pancake breakfast, but I didn't see anything mentioned about a red and white game, but that'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, we usually see that here. I remember walking in and they're like, touchdown Elks, and I'm like, well, it's always going to be a touchdown.
Everything else, interception Elks, Elks intercepted Elks. Let's go! I love it.
Well, yeah. But yes, Stampeders Roundup has been a hit on Chuggin Sports Network. Last week you had Derek Dennis, and yesterday you put on an episode featuring Scout over here of the Elks Herd, where you guys broke down the latest game even further. Our viewers can find that episode on our YouTube, which is Chuggin Sports Network. Is it Chuggin Sports
LTD?
Network?
It's Chuggin Sports Network LTD on YouTube.
How do you know that you're the one that always makes this announcement? But where else can we find the Stampeders Roundup?
I am at Stamps Roundup on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. I'm everywhere. So yeah, right. Where is it? Right there.
Got him.
Pretty much everywhere.
Love it.
No,
and of course on the Shotgun Sports Network.
Mm-hmm.
Best place to be. Like we were talking about, we got quite a few shows on the roster right now. Stamps Roundup is one of them. I mean, if you wanna do some fan talk about the best Albertan CFL team, then you're going to come over here to the Elks Call. But if you want some of that red and white stuff, KFC bucket jersey stuff, I'm throwing in all these tabs at the end.
I'm not a fan of the jerseys. Not a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to see the traditional, like more of a traditional jersey rather than the throwback. Like I like a good throwback, and I know that the Double E are coming out with throwback jerseys here right away.
Mm-hmm.
But even those are going to get old at some point, and you got to switch it up. And The Calgary Stampeders came out with those jerseys for their 75th, I believe.
Yeah. Me personally, I'd like to see the Outlaw uniforms every game. With the two-tone shiny helmets and
Yeah, the pinball helmet. Yeah, we talk about it every Labor Day, and whenever they make the horse shiny, I point it out and everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have really bad memories of the Stampeders beating the Double E with those shiny pinball helmets. So that's I might be a little bit salty about that, but Jason, man, we know that you're sweating just like we are. We aren't going to hold you back here much longer, but thanks a ton for joining us today. We did want to talk a little bit of Stamps. I'm sure we're going to have you on the show again soon, but it's always fantastic talking with you. Also, everybody, if you're looking for a very in-depth breakdown about that Elks versus Stampeders game, go check out Stamps Roundup. We did chat about it the other day. Episode went up yesterday, so go check it out at Stamps Roundup and on Shotgun Sports Network. Jason, thank you so much, my man. We hope you have yourself a fantastic night.
I will. Don't go check that out right now, though. Finish watching them first.
You sweetheart.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jason.
Thanks a lot, Jason.
Have a good
Appreciate
night,
it.
guys.
Have a good night.
Have an awesome night, man.
Oh. You may have to get out of here. I can't kick you.
And that was Jason of Stampeders Roundup, apparently controlling this podcast.
Yeah, he's in charge of the Elks of the Elks Call now.
We don't like it. Jason, awesome stuff. Really appreciate Jason joining us today. Always a good chat. Stampeders Roundup on Shotgun Sports Network, somewhat new for 2025. So, all right, show announcements.
Yeah.
A couple show announcements. The tailgate menu, Hurdy's Diner 2025 menu. We've leaked it. We've leaked our own menu somehow, and it's only on X. If you go check out X, right before we went live, we quickly dropped the Hurdy's Diner menu. It's going to be some Hurdy dogs on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
No surprise. It's usually hot dogs for the preseason game in some capacity, whether it's a smokehouse, whether it's a diner, whether it's a cocktail bar, no matter how we rebrand Hurdy's. It's always hot dogs for the preseason game. But there are some very interesting menu items on there, including a Win Our Tailgate. So we're going to have some news on that in the future. For now, we're going to keep you guessing.
Mm-hmm.
What else for show announcements?
I don't know. You came up with that one.
I
don't know.
I think that's all we have for today. So we're going to see everybody stall number 182. Come on down, the Edmonton Elks tailgate, 3 hours before the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 hours before the game. So 7:30 game. We're going to be down there at 4:30.
Are we going to make it at 4:30?
We better.
We'll try.
My employer knows it's an Elks game day, so that's the bonus. Your employer, they better know.
It's a work day.
Your employer better. All right. Let's get to Kathy's herd report. So this is where we're going to talk about the recent news, transactions, and everything else. Today's herd report is brought to you by the Rouge, White, and Blue podcast. Oz and Joe have you covered on the latest happenings in the CFL from across multiple borders. So go check them out. Americans Talking Canadian Football, Rouge, White, and Blue, only on Shotgun Sports Network. Kathy, what do we got?
Well, the Elks had their first preseason game on Saturday, May 24th, against the Calgary Stampeders. We already talked about the Stamp side part of it with Jason here.
Yeah.
And we figured that this would be kind of a nothing game for us. You know, we still had high hopes, but I think we all understood that this was a game that was meant to evaluate players rather than making plays.
Yeah, it wasn't about the score.
No. So, as you mentioned before, the Elks had a rookie-heavy lineup, and I think that really showed during this game. So, I mean, right off the get-go, Calgary dominated early and often with efficient offensive drives and solid special teams.
Yeah.
All while Edmonton struggled to find rhythm offensively.
The whole game.
Yeah. Quarterback, just quarter, not even the quarterback.
Quarter Fajardo. I like that. Quarter Fajardo.
Quarterback Cody Fajardo had a few completions, particularly to Curious Jackson and Zach Mathis, but their drives often stalled before midfield.
Often.
We had an early single point from a punt, and that was one of the few scoring highlights. Leave it to the Elks to open up with a rouge.
And it wasn't even like a full rouge.
No,
it was more of like a knee, knee in the end zone.
Yes.
Stamps player took a knee in the end zone, and we got a single off of that.
However, the Elks' run game was largely ineffective even after that, failing to convert short yardage situations and ultimately turning the ball over on downs. The first quarter sadly reflected a one-sided affair. But let's talk about Fajardo. What did you think of him during this one quarter that he was in?
See, it's kind of tough to gauge because Fajardo was also working with backups. And this is like later on where we're going to talk about it in a bit. But you could see where some quarterbacks were more comfortable playing with the backups. Why? Because they take those reps in practice together.
Did you expect him to be in this game?
Yes. Yeah, because Trey Ford wasn't going to be in. So QB2 is going to start this one, just like years past that you've seen with many other preseason games, right? Cody Fajardo was always going to start this one.
Are you surprised about the players that were picked to play with him, that were surrounding him for that first quarter?
I think we brought down a lot of green, not so much gold. Let's put it that way. There was a lot of rookies. There was a lot of jobbers. There was a lot of guys fighting for roster spots, right? Curious Jackson, that's where Curious Jackson really stepped up. You could tell that he's hungry for a roster spot. He's hungry for a role on this team. He got targeted quite a bit, had a couple drops, but he got targeted quite a bit. Zach Mathis, our supplemental draft pick from last year.
Right.
Chris Jones went ahead and spent a first rounder on Zach Mathis. And I would say that this is why the guy actually did perform moderately well. I want to say he was 4 out of 4 on target. So he was either 4 out of 4 or 4 for 6. Either way, Zach Mathis didn't do too bad. Yeah. He did have some bigger plays to sustain drives, but we just could not keep the drive going at any time. And it didn't matter what quarterback it was.
Yeah.
Saw quite a bit of pressure.
It sure didn't matter. I mean, during the second quarter, Calgary was able to convert on key downs and exploit Edmonton's penalties, of course, including multiple offside and interference calls. Edmonton offense, once again, struggled to sustain drives.
Yeah.
We had a change in quarterback. We had William
McIlvain.
See, there you go. It was bound to happen. And he was sacked. He was sacked during the second, and he failed to convert on critical passing downs, while the run game only offered modest gains, really. Special teams, they contributed with a few decent punts, but they also drew costly no-yard penalties.
Yeah.
So despite some individual efforts from receivers like Zach Mathis, like you mentioned, the Elks really were not able to produce a meaningful scoring drive at all before the end of the half. Right. And they ended the second quarter 21-1.
Gross.
Do you think they should have kept Fajardo, or was it smart to switch up the quarterbacks at this point?
Well, this game wasn't necessarily about Fajardo, right? Had very little to do with Fajardo. The guy just won a Grey Cup a couple of years ago. We know what Cody Fajardo can do. I believe he was 7 for 8 or 7 for 9 on his passing. So Cody Fajardo played all right, but that's not who the Edmonton Elks were assessing. The Edmonton Elks were assessing McIlvain. They were assessing Cole Snyder. These guys that are fighting for QB3, not even QB2. It's Cody Fajardo by a long shot.
Yeah, of course. You have your QB1 and QB2. So that's why I wasn't sure if we were going to see Fajardo because of that reason. So I was surprised that they put him in.
Rightfully so, right? And I think we're still going to see Fajardo this weekend as well, on Friday night, under the Friday Night Lights preseason at Commonwealth Stadium.
Yeah, we'll see. But let's talk about the third quarter. Edmonton started with a short gain on the ground, but quickly found rhythm through the air with quarterback McIlvain connecting on several passes. However, the momentum shifted when a complete pass resulted in a fumble by Edmonton's
Tuchinski.
Tuchinski. Later, Edmonton responded to Calgary's field goal with a 40-yard kick of their own by Vincent Blanchard. The lone field goal of the game.
Brutal.
Edmonton showed promise with solid gains from Artavis
Pierce.
Wow, I am horrible at this today. Artavis Pierce and a series of short completions, but drives often stalled before reaching the end of the end zone. A late punt and an illegal downfield penalty stifled Edmonton's next drive. So, what do you think about Vincent Blanchard?
I think he only had one real shot at a field goal.
We didn't really get to see much.
Didn't get to see much, and they also had him punting as well, which was interesting.
Yes.
I think that the Elks have so much confidence in him that they released Campbell Fair today, but then picked up another kicker. So the Edmonton Elks are still trying to see what works best on the kick.
Right.
There's zero confidence, I would say, between fans and the organization in what's happening with this kicking snare.
I have no idea what's happening. I don't think anybody knows. So it's going to be interesting on Friday to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. During the fourth quarter, Edmonton had a promising start with quarterback
Cole Snyder,
leading a drive deep into Calgary territory. But back-to-back incompletions near the goal line resulted in turnovers on downs.
Yeah.
Edmonton's final drive was probably the most exciting of the game, with Snyder almost scoring a touchdown thanks to the hands of J.J. Lapp and Colby Herford. But a third down gamble ended the game with a turnover.
And they were so close. And you know why they went for the gamble, because a field goal at that point and that close, it's doing nothing for the score. It's doing nothing for development or for assessment.
Well, but at the same time, and I mentioned this, we're trying to figure out who QB3 is going to be.
Right.
The job of the QB3 a lot of the time is that short yardage.
Correct.
At this time, you punch it through. If you know that you're fighting for this position, you do what you need to do to get there. And for a lot of that, it made no sense to me that they didn't run it through, that he didn't try to just make it through.
But he wasn't on the 1 yard line though. That's what we have to remember. He was a couple yards out still, right?
Just close enough. I mean, it's like this is a nothing. This is a nothing game. Like seriously, just go for it. Especially when you're fighting for a position that is specifically meant to have those kinds of plays.
It's a game about nothing.
It doesn't matter.
Nothing.
Just run it through. Just go.
No, I know what they did, and they wanted to test. Obviously, like when the lights are bright and when the pressure is at its highest, what can you do? Can you put this ball in your hands and do it yourself? Can you find your guy? Can you make an accurate throw when they're going to blitz you? All of these questions. They wanted to see what Cole Snyder could do. They're taking him for a spin. Yeah. Final spin, right on that gamble. I would say on that final drive, Cole Snyder performed well. He started to get comfortable, which is what you really want. Mm-hmm. Is he going to make QB3? Well, I think he's going to get more looks on Friday night.
Right.
I think he's definitely going to get some more looks on Friday night. He might get more than a quarter.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I still don't know what you say that you're expecting Fajardo to show up. Obviously, they're going to have William McIlvain in there as well because they want to see what else he can do. I mean, obviously, 1 game, 2 quarters is not enough, and they'll have Snyder again. So,
but I think that every quarterback's going to get a quarter.
Yeah.
Quarterback.
Do you think we're going to see Ford?
Oh, 110%. We will definitely see Trey Ford on Friday night. Expect him in the first quarter. He might play a drive. He might get a drive, but he might get a full quarter. Right? We don't know how that's going to go.
Plays. I want trick plays.
Get it going, trick plays. And honestly, they were doing some funky stuff out of practice, I believe, at one of the training camp practices. And I want to say that Cody Fajardo was holding the ball while the kicker kicked.
Yeah.
And if you
Fajardo
have
for kicker.
no, but he was holding the ball. But that tells you that they can run a trick play off
Right.
of that, and he can whip the
See?
ball down the field.
Trick
So placeholder.
plays.
So yeah, I mean, I think that there's lots of possibilities with this, right? And Mark Killam's already kind of looking at that, I think.
Well, hey, like, I mean, one better game than a nothing game to play around a little bit.
They aren't tricking nobody in that Stampeders game. Are you kidding me? They couldn't even sustain a drive. What makes you think they're going to?
For this next one.
Okay,
With
yeah.
BC.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we have a really tough opponent, and that usually happens with us right at the beginning of the season. But why not have a little bit of fun, right? Why not try some things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily try in the regular season because you're playing it safe? Why not think outside of the box and kind of throw some crazy wild plays?
But then,
I'm guessing.
But then the other teams have the film, right? They have the film, and then they're going to see the formations. They're going to suspect. The defenses will suspect what's going on.
Listen, I take it back. That was just wishful thinking. But at the same time, we know that they're still doing a lot of development. They're still doing a lot of, assessments for some of these players. So I think it's going to be another one of those. And we just have to see what happens. Just one trick play, though, please.
Kathy's hungry for some action here. She wants to see the trick play.
Fun, but yeah, we'll see. But either way, at the end of the day, at the end of the game, neither team really found a consistent rhythm by the end of the game, really. But Calgary's touchdown proved decisive.
Touchdowns.
Yeah, and the last, I think they only had one. I'm talking about the fourth.
Oh, and the fourth. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
The fourth. Edmonton's final possessions were marked by short gains and stalled drives, sealing Calgary's control of the fourth quarter and ultimately the game. So, see, I still hate that I see it.
Well, they're booing. They're booing. They're booing for Calgary.
Boo. What would you say is the bad of this game? What was the worst that you saw?
Well, the misconduct penalties, like I'm going to go with penalties. And the main reason for that is because a lot of these penalties were avoidable. Lining up with your nose on the ball when that's an offside penalty for the defense. And the defense did that multiple times. Mm-hmm. It was not a good look.
No.
It looked like they were trying to play American football, and a lot of people online have the same sentiment. Can Mark Killam please tell these players that they are no longer playing American football?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
no, and I agree. I agree with the penalties. Too many, too costly.
Yeah.
Very, very costly penalties that we saw, and that's really unfortunate. You'd figured, after last season and some of the things that, I mean, we just talked to our guest, Adele Willis, and what did he say? That when they started winning, it wasn't about a different team. They had the exact same team with the exact same plays, and nothing changed. What changed was the discipline. They cleaned it up. Less penalties. And that was the difference between a losing team and a team that made it all the way.
Yeah, 2014 to 2015, they didn't change very much of the roster at all. The one thing they did was they cleaned up the penalties, which is kind of funny because even with the Edmonton Oilers, we see where they take a bunch of penalties and and they lose the game, but then they don't get any, like barely any penalties, and they win the game.
Yeah. And how frustrating it is knowing that you are watching some really good football, that you're watching some really good players, and it is these penalties that are costing the team, right?
It is. And I mean, especially in that game, I believe it was for 88 yards. I want to say 9 penalties for 88 yards is the official stat on that. Brutal.
Yeah. No, and clean that up. And once again, we're evaluating and assessing a whole bunch of players, but let that kind of be a good start for the rest of the players.
Yeah, I agree.
In a sense that they understand exactly what went wrong and what they need to fix to make sure that doesn't happen again.
And that's also on Mark Killam as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've seen undisciplined double-E teams in the past under Jason Moss, Elizondo, Chris Jones. We've been seeing this, kind of be a thing for the last 5-6 years. Mm-hmm. Mark Killam has the opportunity to right the wrong that has been going on with
Yeah.
this team for a hot minute.
Definitely.
Get the penalties under control, and you got yourself a football game.
Mhm.
If you're taking 9 penalties in a game, I don't think you can expect to win.
No.
Right?
Simple as that. But now let's finish this up with the good. Who stood out?
There was good in this. No, I'm just kidding.
In the last drive.
In the final drive, Cole Snyder from Eastern Michigan. So there were some players that stood out in this game, and once again, this is the whole purpose of a preseason game one, is to identify who's going to make it on to the next step, who's gonna shine when the lights are bright, right? Joel DeBlanco at linebacker, our first overall pick from last year in the 2024 CFL draft. Joel DeBlanco actually had a really good game. He got an interception. I want to say around how many tackles? There's 3 tackles, somewhere around there. But Joel DeBlanco ended up having a good game. Demetrius Ford. How about we talk about Demetrius Ford?
How about we talk about the large number of Fords in this team?
Well, 3. What's better than 1 Ford? 2, and what's better than 2 Fords? 3. So we might actually have Demetrius Ford on the roster. I think we're going to see another good look at him on Friday. But Demetrius Ford had a sack and an interception, and I want to say his stat was actually three tackles. I do remember that one. So Demetrius Ford looked good. Zach Mathis looked like we didn't waste our draft pick last year. I think that Zach Mathis may pay off.
One of those, definitely. I think JJ Lapp, he had some really good plays.
Look at you. JJ busting out to JJ Lapp here. JJ Lapp had a really I don't think he had a really good game, but I think he had a good game.
Yeah.
I want to say 4 receptions. And one of them was a crazy sideline catch where he leaned out. He laid out and he grabbed
himself.
Yeah. And that's the type of plays that you want to see from these guys when they're fighting for a job.
Just like Sinjin over here in the chat, he says, where do you go? Over here. Talent-wise, there's no reason we're in the top 14. Clean those penalties up and we can get there. 100%.
What up, Sinjin in the herd chat? We also see your comments here, John, in the herd chat as well. There you go. I like this comment here from John. I totally get that the players are important, but let's not get too caught up in the score right now. Preseason is mostly for the players who are hoping to make the team. Very, very true sentiment. Appreciate you saying that one, John, because that is very true.
From Sinjin over here, preseason is just prove yourself. It's just prove yourself football. Good old resume games.
It's for film. For some of these guys that don't make the roster, it's still good to go out there and do your thing, get some film, get into that game scenario, go play. It's like NFL and preseason games as well, right? Some of these guys only got to do preseason and practice roster. I think JJ Lapp is one of those. Came up here based on what his film looked like, right? This happens. And CFL football is no different from the NFL in that sense. Guys are trying to make a roster. Guys are trying to make a name for themselves. That's what this game is about. Would it have been nice to see a touchdown? Sure. Would have been great to see a touchdown. At least we would have been able to celebrate that one.
We were close. We were
this close. But there was definitely reasons to still celebrate the players individually, and there were some players that balled out. So go check out our article on shotgunsportsnetwork.ca. We do break down who we thought were the studs in that game, who we thought stood out. So
all right, let's move on. There were some transactions since the last time that we talked. We had on May 23rd, we signed an American defensive lineman, Charlie Lewis, National defensive lineman, Reese Martin. We released National defensive lineman, Sam Achimpong, which that's a little
surprising.
That was surprising. And American linebacker Darian Butler was suspended. Was that because of the game?
No, I don't know.
No.
I feel like if he was out there raising Cain and getting a lot of those penalties, he would have just been straight up cut.
Yes, very true. On May 26th, we had American linebacker Brock Moggensen signed, American offensive lineman Greg Alan signed, American defensive back Steve Stevens The fourth was released.
The fourth.
The fourth.
There's 3 other Steve Stevens.
And American defensive back Christopher Jackson was also released. And just today we had, as you mentioned, national kicker Campbell Fair was released, but we signed an American kicker, Braden Narvison. So we'll see what that looks like in this game coming up.
Well, and I mean, Campbell Fair getting released only for the Double E to go ahead and pick up another kicker today. It goes to show that Campbell Fair unfortunately lost this battle, but Vincent Blanchard didn't win it either.
Yeah.
Like, that is wild.
He had one good one.
Well, but he had 1 field goal, but I mean, they still are not impressed to the point where they're gonna, go ahead, point and pick.
No.
They're like, no, we still got to see more from some other kickers. It is crazy.
Getting a little close.
Yeah.
But that's we have some news.
We do have some news. I would like to talk about this one because we kind of talked about it on the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be some new concession items this year. And I think that's very exciting. Let me see if I can pull it up quick enough. But off the top of my head, I know that for 2025, condiment carts are returned. Ladies and gentlemen, fried onions and condiments are going to be readily available for Double E fans in the concourse. No longer do we have to run around and talk to the concession people and ask for condiments and all this stuff. No, the condiment carts are back. Okay. Mm-hmm. Load up that dog however you want, because we will have all the goodies now all over the concourse. Also, loud cups. Loud cups. Who was giving Elks fans loud cups first?
I don't know.
The Elks herd was giving people loud cups first. We have been giving away.
Oh, is it the same ones?
It's the same one. Oh, it's the same ones. It's loud cups.
Mm-hmm.
So you will be able to purchase loud cups now at Commonwealth Stadium. Also, grub tubs. Grub tubs. You know how there's like those big old cups, and then they got the ring that you put your food in at the stadiums and whatnot. Commonwealth is gonna have grub tubs. That is so exciting to me. All right, we got a couple more here.
I like this from Sinjin. I'm so pumped for this.
Oh,
love it from Matt.
Loving it. Matt Soms, what up, man? We see you in the herd chat. What up, everybody?
Everybody's. Oh, here, John. A cup with a horn.
And a lunchbox for kids.
Oh, so that's the
no, reusable lunchbox, a fun add-on to kids combo meals, so that's your little fans can take home a souvenir.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
That's a huge update.
I want a lunchbox.
By the way, shout out to John Kirby for posting this in the Edmonton Elks Facebook group, because that's what I'm reading right now, John. You did it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're definitely gonna have to get a couple of those for the kids.
But what about football helmets? Football helmets.
Those too?
So served in the kids' corner, loaded with treats like candy, caramel corn, and more.
Wild.
Caramel corn to F off. But yeah, I mean, the kids are going to love it.
Oh, yeah.
Our boys will probably love it.
They're going to be like $40. But hey, they're all going to be, those little faces are going to be like, Mom, Dad, can I? And guess what? We're going to have to buy them because they're cool. And
we're going to steal those helmets after from them. No, I'm just kidding.
Larry, smart move.
Larry, like Sinjin said, Larry is exactly what we needed of the fans, for the fans. He is a fan, and these are the things that he wanted to see return. So thank you, Larry Thompson, for this. Nacho Extreme trays. New upgraded trays for fully loaded nachos that are perfect for sharing. Like, the concession is actually getting an upgrade, a much needed upgrade. No longer is it just Boston Pizza, like, where to find your BPs or 73 or Nietzsche's or whatever. Shout out to all those companies, they're great, but it's not the same as having these like team-based products with the double E's on them. Get that branding on there. I'm a sucker for anything double E. I'll buy if it has the double E's or the Elk logo.
Can you see this?
Buy it.
Right behind us. Yes.
That's just because you were cold too many times and you forgot the blanket too many. No.
From Sinjin over here, as a fan, I feel we're getting a lot in the experience. I have no problem paying a little money for the stuff, 100%. And that's what I say. When it comes to the experience itself, a lot of the time, you don't necessarily think about a value, a monetary value.
No.
Right? Because it's the experience. It's something that you're taking home with you, a little souvenir. It's something that is providing that cool experience for your kids to be like, oh my God, this is so cool. Right? And a lot of the time, I mean, not to say that some people can't afford it, because obviously you have to make it somewhat affordable for every single family that goes in there. But it's one of those extra little things that will make it different for a lot of the fans.
Oh, totally. And especially too, like, I think the big target here, which kids are a big target, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the big target here is the fans that are experiencing the stadium for a first time, or like a first time in 5 years or whatever. Welcome back to Commonwealth. Check out these sweet items that you can use as a utility for eating.
Yeah.
And then you can take it home.
Whenever you go to a Riverhawks game and you get your ice creams in those tiny little helmets, right? And it's so cool because then the boys use those to get some signatures from the players, and they have them as souvenirs, right? So it's cool. It's cool.
And then you go back a second time and you get more, and then you use them for at home, right?
And now those ones are for ice cream.
Riverhawks players sign my beer bat, and they're like, the old beer bat, eh? Why? Because I'm not the only delinquent that wants a beer bat signed by the team. It's those little things. And I'm going to point over to the Edmonton Riverhawks. First of all, a big ups to the Edmonton Riverhawks. We're going to give them one more, because they've found a way to bring in the Edmonton sports fans. You might not be the biggest baseball fan, but we got a dog going out and grabbing the bat.
Great. That's my favorite game to go to.
You might not be the biggest baseball fan, but we got ice cream in little helmets. You might not be the biggest baseball fan, but we know you like beer, and we know you'd love beer in a baseball bat. It's those small things, those small gestures that make you feel closer to the brand and to the experience.
Get a little lunchbox? Hell, I want one.
Exactly. That's what sports teams do, and especially like you take a look at what hockey teams do in the States for their promo schedules and stuff, and they give away stuff all season long.
Now, the Blue Jays, I see it all the time. They give away bobbleheads.
Even the Blue Jays.
A whole bunch of
and they know they got the fans. They know that people from all over Canada are going to go down to Rogers Centre, and they're going to go ahead and spend that money, and they're going to go watch the Blue Jays. And sure, you could sit and you could just watch the Blue Jays and do your thing, but what if you catch them on a promo night and you get a jersey out of it? You get a baseball cap. You get I think I got a lunch bag once from the Blue Jays game. So, like, it's those things, and the Edmonton Elks do kind of need to do a little bit more of that. This is the first step, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Give people items that bring them closer to the experience and the game. And hey, you might be able to get it signed one day. You might have other opportunities with this, but you can go home. Let's say with the football helmet, with the food helmet, go home, make some popcorn, throw it in the bowl, and watch Double E on TV. Continue supporting, right?
Exactly.
So very excited.
Well, now it's your chance to maybe get a taste of a lot of that.
Get a taste of Edmonton. I like it.
BC is playing at Edmonton on Friday, May 30th for another preseason game. The game starts at 7:30 p.m. So see you there for our first tailgate of the season.
Oh yeah, we got a tailgate.
Yeah.
Stall 182. You know where it's at. Hurdy's Diner. I haven't come up with the slogan yet.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get there.
We don't slide the meats.
Oh my God. Let's move on to our next segment. We have the Edmonton Sports Update.
Oh, we have ourselves an Edmonton Sports Update. Now with intro music again. Your Edmonton Oilers are in the Western Conference Final, defeating the Dallas Stars last night by a score of 4-1 to take a 3-1 series lead in the best-of-7 series. They'll continue the mission back to the finals in Dallas tomorrow night. Puck drop is at 6 p.m. Mountain. Your Edmonton Elks most recently lost to the Calgary Stampeders by a score of 31-4 on Saturday night. They continue their preseason on Friday night when they host the BC Lions at Commonwealth Stadium. Kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. Mountain. Rising boxing star Alexas Kubicki defeated Alondra Yamil Hernandez Mendoza at the River Cree on Friday night, claiming the WBC Flyweight International Women's title. And don't forget that Love Pro Wrestling has events every month, with their next event with the Clandestine Wrestling Society on May 29th, and then the main event on May 30th called It's Gotta Be May. With tickets as low as $10, you don't want to miss out. We're the Elks Herd. You're up to date.
We do have an update for the Stingers, and they won 99-81 tonight.
Your Edmonton Stingers have won 99-81 at home tonight in the hangar down at Edmonton Expo. Shout out to the Stingers. Once again, we're the Elks Herd, and you are up to date. Massive shout out. We've deleted a commercial break, which is better for flow here, but even better yet, you guys are rocking with the Elks Herd tonight, so we can't thank y'all enough for joining us on another lovely episode. We have a new segment for you, so let's get this one going. Up next, we got Green or Gold. It's our take on Hot or Not. Green or Gold is brought to you by the Stampeders Roundup. If you're a Stamps fan and you're listening to our show, you might as well just buy an Elks jersey now. But if you're really dedicated to the Stamps, check out Jason's show on Shotgun Sports Network. All right. Green or Gold? All right. Make sure everybody gets in on the herd chat here. Green or Gold? We're going to bring up a topic or item, and if you like it, you're going to vote Gold. But if you don't like it, or you're kind of on the middle on it, vote Green. Herd chat, get in on it. This is a fun one. We want your voice to be heard.
Yeah.
Heard.
Okay.
Pun intended. All right. So John ended up bringing to everybody's attention here that there is a new season ticket holder gift. So we have a season ticket holder gift. Kathy, do you have the picture of that?
I do.
Ooh.
Look at me being prepared.
Prepper Red. So this is for this Edmonton Elks season ticket holder gift. We don't know what it is yet. It could be a jersey. It could be a bag. Some people are saying bandana. I personally have no clue. I do not have an inside lane on this. But based on what you see here, is it green or is it gold? Double E fans, folks that are watching the Elks Herd right now, throw it in the herd chat. Let us know. Season seed holder gift, green or gold. We got a gold here from St. John.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, what do you think? Green or gold?
I'm going to say gold because I like it. I'm going to say green because we don't get it.
Okay, we're going to talk about that not get it part here in a minute. John Kirby here in the herd chat is also saying gold. I think that it's beautiful as well.
Okay,
I think that logo
that's
is
cool. That's a cool little thing to have.
All right, so
Get it.
I think everybody is at a consensus here on the gold. This is looking a little bit more gold than green.
Mm-hmm.
But what a tiered system for seat holders. Tiered system for seat holders. So
Okay.
to give everybody the full rundown here, if you have P1 to P3 seats, and there is a seating chart, I should have included it for this one, but basically Section X has been relegated to P4. If you're P1 to P3, you get this gift. If you're P4, you do not, and if you're P5, you do not, which is usually family seats. Tiered system for this seat holder gift. Is that green or is that gold?
I'm going to say green because we don't get it.
Very fair.
But I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard because I get what they're doing.
Right.
From a business standpoint, obviously, you are trying to convince people to purchase a more expensive seat, especially when you're in a position like Larry's that you have to start making money.
Right.
Right. So in ways, I understand it that you have different tiers and you get different kind of perks for each one of the tiers. I'm not a fan that they changed it from one year to the other, because you mentioned that P4 was included in a lot of the perks before, and now in this year it is not. It stops kind of at P3.
Right.
So, I mean, it's expected. As a business decision, it makes sense. I personally don't like it because obviously we're going to be Section X for life and we're just kind of stuck to what we get. It'd be nice to be able to get some perks like that, but unfortunately at this point we're not going to get it because of where we have our seats.
Well, I think St. John here in the herd chat agrees with you. Green season seats to season seats. So he's going to agree with you on that.
I see the perks being different. Like obviously you get more perks if you're P1, less perks when you're P4. But this one, it says season seat holder.
Right.
Which we are. Right. So people should still, everybody that has a season seat should be able to get something like that says seat holder. Something cooler if you're P1 or more perks.
Right.
Something less perks if you're P4 or P5.
Right.
But I do think that everybody should have gotten something that says season seat holder.
Well, if they bring back the stickers, then it's even more gold for me. John also points out here in the herd chat, 25-year season seat holders also get this gift.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter where you're sitting. If you've been with the club for 25 years, they're going to go ahead and give you this gift. I'm going to say gold. And the reason why I'm going to say gold is because already you can see the effects throughout the throughout the fan base. Right. People are like, yeah, well, good thing I spent money on good season seats. Now, I'm in Section X with you. We're Section X for life, as we said. We got relegated.
Yeah. I mean, are we going to move?
We're not moving. We're not moving. It's Gate 13 for life. It's Section X for life. We're not leaving Section X. Do I feel a little bit stung because it's something that we couldn't control and we're not going to go ahead and upgrade seats? Now, if we want to stay in Section X and get this perk, we can move up by the overhang. There is a section of Section X, a small section in Section X, that will get this gift.
Yeah.
Not everybody in Section X, but I think that for the marketing purposes and for the money, for people buying the better season tickets and getting that upgrade in, and for all of that, for the business reasons, I'm going to give it a big gold. We do have a comment here from John on Facebook. Hey, John Hayden. I am curious what the gift is as a first-time season ticket holder. First of all, a little applause and a little cheer. Awesome that you decided to buy some season tickets. Congratulations on joining the Double E, joining the herd as a seat holder. We still don't know what this gift is.
No, we have no clue. We might see it here sooner rather than later.
Well, on Friday, apparently.
They're during the game?
I guess people are able to pick these up on Friday.
Nice. So you'll find out.
Yes, coming soon. I got Section K under the overhang. We drive too many hours to sit in the rain.
That's fair.
Power move,
That's
John.
Fair.
Power
you
move.
know what? We say Section X for life, but I have a feeling that as we start getting older, we are not going to be doing those stairs for, the next 30 years. So we may have to move it up a little bit.
The stairs are saving the beer, shedding the beer off my gut. So,
okay, now I'm talking years. Years down the road. Like, Jesus.
I'm going to need those stairs more as the years go on, Catherine.
St. John over here, I get the idea, but maybe offer an ability to stay in your P4 section and upgrade perks. I'll pay more if you upgrade my perks kind of idea.
Well, offer an ability to stay in your P4 section and upgrade the perks. Maybe pay an extra lump sum or whatever to have an upgraded status on your seats, or specifically for your seats, right?
Yeah.
I don't mind that idea. That would also get money flowing the way that they're going for, right? They're trying to make more money. They're trying to not be in the red for once over at Commonwealth Stadium. So I like that idea. I like that idea. At the same time, do I think that there should be some universal, like everybody gets this type of gift for season ticket holders? Do I wish that there is something maybe a little bit more universal? Yes. I wish we got the boxes back. I wish we got lanyards with the cards back. I wish we had the stickers with the year on it. I want to show everybody that I'm a season ticket holder for the year on the back of my truck, right?
Yeah.
You see the stickers on my truck.
Yeah.
So
I sure do.
I think that they're well on their way to making the fans happy in that sense. I do also think that, there's going to be fans that are cheesed off over there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I'm saying gold on that. We do have one more green or gold. Let's talk about this one just to get it out of the way, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about this. But the double E replacing the elk head logo. So as we know, the Edmonton Elks are changing the logo for this season. It is the double E's. We see it everywhere. The double E's are back. But do you like the idea of the double E's replacing the elk head logo and the elk head logo moving to, second or third? Is that green or is that gold?
I say gold. I like the double E.
You like the double E?
I like the double E, and you know what? Even if they don't get, I just hope that they don't get rid of the elk head logo, because a lot of kids like it. We heard it a lot. Kids actually preferred the elk head than the double E.
And that's why I'm going to say green, but
no, but that's the thing. If you have it as a secondary, so you still have it available, people can still buy that.
Right.
It's still there, right? You're just changing the main logo to the double E, which I personally think is a lot more classic. I find it nicer to look at, so I say gold.
You're saying gold. Ken Shapka here in the herd chat. Mm-hmm. What up, Ken? He is saying gold. Mm-hmm. John Hayden here. I like the double E, but the kids like the antlers, which is exactly what you were talking about. John here in the herd chat, gold, and fans can call the team whatever they want. A very valid point. We are going to dig into that just a little bit. And then Sinjin here in the herd chat, gold, but I do like the elk head as an alternate. The name isn't going anywhere. The CFL won't allow it. Don't worry, we're going to talk about it. But I'm going to say green. And the reason why is because the elk logo was somewhat well thought out. It had all the colors. And it represents Northern Alberta the best, I think. Just like they have their horse down in Calgary. Take quick 6 to the glue factory. But, we have an elk logo. It was something that could resonate with hunters. It's something that resonates with Northern Alberta, and I think the logo is nice. Now, do I love the double E's? Of course I do. But as far as talking about the future of this team and where the team kind of needs to go and where the direction it should be going, I think the elk head was a little bit more progressive. So I'll say green on that one. Don't get me wrong. I love me some double E's. I love the double E's. It is the logo that I resonate with, but I got used to the elk. And our boys like that logo as well.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, as long as they don't get rid of it.
Just don't get rid of it. That's the thing.
Have it as an alternate. Have it as a secondary. And you are getting best of both worlds. You have your kids wanting to purchase merchandise, and then you have your own preferences, and you can purchase your merchandise.
110%. And we've seen that. So, kids usually direct the parents to spend with the wallet and the cards and everything. So, that's where I think that was a smart move. And on the sidelines, they are still wearing that elk logo. Mm-hmm. So it's not like the elk logo is completely disappearing quite yet. But I didn't mind it as a primary. I kind of liked it. It grew on me. All right. We got one more segment, Catherine. It's our final segment. We had to bring back the fan favorite, a.k.a. the Fan Forum. Tonight's Fan Forum is brought to you by the Argos Fancast. Join Clay, Will, and Sir Douglas as they give you the latest from Argos land every week right here on Shotgun Sports Network. Go check them out. Now, in this segment, we're going to talk about the hottest topics surrounding the Edmonton Elks and the CFL as a whole. Herd chat, blow it up. You know what to do. Get your comments and questions onto the show. And new for this season, we're going to be taking in one question from the herd chat and asking it as our second question in the fan forum. So if you have a good question for Elks fans, throw it on the show and we will get it up here. Let's open it up. Let's open up the fan forum. Catherine, would you like to take this one away?
Sure. The Edmonton Elks have recently announced that Dwayne Mandrusiak is back for his 50th season in 2025. While there is some speculation surrounding his return, most feel that Dwayne being back is the right move. Did the organization need to make this move sooner?
Herd chat, this is a big one. Dwayne Mandrusiak, as we know, was kind of wrongfully let go in 2020, I believe, right as all the COVID stuff was happening. And now Dwayne's back. Larry Thompson has worked night and day to try to get Dwayne Mandrusiak back into the building. He himself has said that he has not been back in Commonwealth Stadium since he's been let go. That's how salty Dwayne has, kind of taken it. And rightfully so. I mean, the guy thought he was going to get his 50th season, and you let him go right before he gets it.
Right.
So he's back. Did the organization need to make this move sooner? Absolutely. Absolutely. Should have been done years ago. Shouldn't have ever happened. Let's put it that way. Dwayne Mandrusiak should have never been let go. And, he was probably supposed to be let go, or he was supposed to walk away on his own terms. Let's put it that way. Was never really supposed to be let go by this organization, right? Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. Just because I wasn't very familiar with that, I wasn't necessarily a fan. But I mean, if I'm looking at this from a very objective kind of point of view, with all the changes that happened, I don't think it would have happened sooner. I think it's happening at the right time.
Right.
Because now you're seeing a lot of these changes in the team that is going back to that old school mentality, right? The changes that you're seeing to bring Bone back, the changes that you're seeing to bringing specific parts of the organization that you saw left, that they left after COVID, and a lot of those changes happened. So I think it just happened at the right time, because otherwise it wouldn't have happened. If it wasn't because of Larry Thompson and everything that he's doing right now, we probably wouldn't see Dwayne coming back. Simple as that, right? So I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, probably not the right move right from the get-go, but I don't think it would have happened sooner. I don't know if it should have happened sooner, because I don't think he would have been happy with the team as it was 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Right. So I think it's just the right time.
That's a crazy point of view on it, especially considering that you had never cheered on the Double E during the Eskimos era. You had cheered on the Double E during the Elks era. You came in as an Elks fan, right? So that's actually a very good point. And I think, I've talked with Dwayne Mandrusiak quite a bit over even the last year. Know Dwayne somewhat well. And you could tell that there was a little bit of pain there in that. You could tell that he did want to be back in Commonwealth, but it had to be on his own terms. And he's not going to be the equipment manager. I mean, Dan's doing a fantastic job in there. You can't really take that guy's job away and just give it back to Dwayne. It's not that simple. You have to wait for the right opportunity. I think you're bang on. Catherine. Sinjin here in the herd chat. This is the right thing to do. The organization moved so far away from its roots in Edmonton, and now Larry is restoring it. True story. John here in the herd chat, totally right move, bringing him back. He also wants to see Dean Faithful back as backup kicker. I believe Dean Faithful's with the team right now.
Is he?
I think so.
I'm not sure.
IFL.
I hope so. I mean, right now it's his time. We don't have a solid kicker.
Fair, very fair.
He has to shine.
Totally. Now, let's add a part 2 onto this. How else can the organization return to some of the old ways that made it successful? Besides the whole name thing, okay, we're gonna touch on this. We're gonna touch on the name, but what else can the organization do? And I'll put in my suggestion into the hat. Bring in the bronze Joey Moss. The Edmonton Oilers, and we've talked about it on this show before. The Edmonton Oilers have a bronze Joey Moss that high fives all the players on the way out, right? So bringing back a piece of Joey, celebrating Joey Moss, who was a massive part of that locker room, along with Dwayne Mandrusiak. That's another step, in my opinion, that they can do in restoring the Double E. What do you think?
Once again, hard to say. You're putting me on the spot here because I wasn't around for those good old
Yeah, I
days,
guess. Yeah.
right? So all I have is hearsay of what made those days so great.
Accounts, yes.
So, I mean, if I'm just going back to some of the anecdotes, to some of the conversations that we have had with players, with alumni, with fans, I think it's just including some of the history of the team a little bit more, right? The Edmonton Elks are in a position where there's a generational gap,
right?
And you have a lot of the newer fans coming in as children, and we know that because you have the parents that were the fans and now are introducing this to your children. And there's that generational gap because we don't have kind of like the middle ground, right? A lot of the teenagers and kind of because they don't necessarily think it's cool or whatever.
Sure.
So we need to, I feel like what we need to do is kind of look at those grassroots and start fostering a lot of the love for a team. And you start bringing in the history and you start bringing in a lot more information about how they got there, where they are, and embracing that and building upon that so that the children are learning about it and learn to love the team the way that now their parents used to love it.
So you think, like, let's say with the community piece, the community stuff that they're doing, just include the history in with some of this community outreach?
Yeah, just something like, we've talked a lot about grassroots movements.
Yeah.
Right? We've talked a lot about that. And
always,
even introducing a little bit more piece of the history of the Eskimos and, for what it was. What it was and for the team, what it meant without the connotations of the name. But it's that history that I feel sometimes is really missing.
Yeah.
Right. And even for myself, I had to put it upon myself to go ahead and go and learn more about the team when we started doing this, instead of, say, having a little museum or a place that I can go learn about them, or, like I would say that maybe even, I'm not going to say with the Oilers because everybody knows who the Oilers is, but a lot of the time when we went to Toronto and we went to the museum, like how cool was it to learn more about that part of it?
The Hall of Fame,
right? The Hall of Fame. So
learn about the Edmonton Eskimos losing to the Ottawa Senators. Yeah.
So like add a little like museum or something that kids can go to and learn about the team, or just like John here having Elks Museum like the Oilers or something like that, right? That you're just kind of introducing a little bit more of those concepts that seem to kind of go over the head of a lot of the kids that just show up to these games because it's a football game that my parents love. But why do my parents love it? Can I learn to love the team that way?
Yeah, that's very. I like that answer. It seems like John here agrees with you. We got a couple other comments here as well. So, let's go down to John here in a stack says, bring back the season seat holder cards, music acts at halftime, and no clear bags. Which one of those is not controllable. You can't really do anything with that. But
that's the city.
But halftime acts, I'll agree. I think that getting to watch some performers at halftime, bust up rhymes. Like I remember every single halftime. I was down on the field for Sean DePaul. Like that was sick. There's some great moments. John's comment, I do like John's comment. Out of all the teams in the league and all the stadiums I've been to, the Elks have the youngest crowd. You don't see a ton of Blue Bombers games. A ton of kids at Blue Bombers games. That's interesting. That is extremely interesting, considering that they're on fire right now.
Yeah.
But
and cater to that. If you have a lot of families coming in, and they're doing great. I mean, some of the initiatives that Larry is doing this year to include more of the kids and, the younger crowd, and even last year, really have been great. So I think seeing that the Elks have probably one of the youngest crowds, cater to that and exploit it. Right?
Love it. Ken Shapka also has a comment here. Bring back videos throughout the game celebrating Eskimos history, much like they did with the 75th last year. I thought that was a fantastic touch. If you're in your seats and sitting, you get to kind of reminisce on those great memories, get to see some of the legends, right? What else? Is that it for her chat?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. John did ask about the Oilers schedule versus the Elks schedule. round 4 on a potential round 4 home game or away game on June 19th for the Elks home opener. The one thing I will say from what I believe has happened here, I forget which birdie told me or whatever, but from what I know, the Thursday home opener was scheduled with the Oilers playoff run in mind. So in the event that we make it back to the to the Stanley Cup final here, this has been thought out. So that Thursday game is there for that reason. That's why we have a Thursday home opener this year, because the two schedules may collide. And the Edmonton Elks, they got a little bit sewered last year. I mean, for all the right reasons, but unfortunately, it is what it is when you have two professional teams in town at different buildings and all that. So it is what it is on that. What else do we have? That was a big one. Tom Cochran got cheesed off that his sound was being turned down because he was getting close to halftime and it was almost over. So it is what it is. I just want to see halftime acts back.
Yeah,
like BC is going to have a really good one here in Snoop Dogg.
Oh.
I would love a Snoop Dogg.
Oh.
Why can't we have a Snoop Dogg? All right. Let's close the fan forum. Thanks everybody for participating. We got one fan rant here, a quick fan rant, and then we are going to jump off. But on the subject. So as we know, very recently, as of Monday, the Edmonton Elks have acknowledged the Eskimos' name again. The once an Eskimo, always an Eskimo sign has returned to the EE locker room. Basically, Chris Morris has stated that it is okay to go ahead and say Eskimos. You can use the word Eskimos. I like the sentiment, and I know that there's a lot of people that are going to love that, and I think that in reference to the history of the team, that's perfectly fine. You want to call players, Eskimos, former players Eskimos, whatever, if they played under that era. They did kind of say that, look, Eskimos history is up until the name change. Elks history is to be made. Right? I will say I'm not going to use the word Eskimos very much. I'm still going to refer to the team as EE or Edmonton Elks, former players, EE legends, all this stuff. It's great, and it does appease to a certain part of the fan base and everything else. I'm sure that people still call this team the Eskimos, right? But like John just said in the herd chat here, thank you. It's giving people false hope by pushing it. You pick a scab that has been trying to heal for 4 years now, 5 years, 4 or 5 years. They changed this name with a reason. People applauded them for changing the name and all of this other stuff, right? You bring a sign back and you acknowledge the name. Well, now the name will never go away. The term Eskimos is never going to go away now. The term Eskimos is accepted by the club and all of this other stuff. Nothing is going to change with that part of the fan base. In my opinion, there's always going to be a section of the EE fan base that's going to want that name back. And, shout out to the media members and everybody that's covered this. Shout out to everybody that, loves the old name and everything else. Simply put, they changed the name for a reason. It's Edmonton Elks for a reason. Throw the EEs up front. Give us all the EEs. Try to keep the Elks logo. Kind of move things around a bit, which is what they've done. But in my opinion, I don't think that it is the smartest move. And the reason why is it's giving that false hope, right? It's just simply put, like there's still people that are offended by that name. And I'm not going to be one to push it. If the name ever does change again or whatever, then so be it. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I'm going to do my part to not necessarily say that Eskimos word too much, especially out of this episode. But I think that it's more of an action that is going to cause more harm than good, especially when there's players, there's people, there's members of the organization that have worked their derrieres off as Edmonton Elks. I know of at least one player that, has worked their butt off for this brand, has stuck around with this team for many years, and they consider themselves an Edmonton Elk. I'm pretty sure at some point I might have even said, hey, man, you're the closest thing to an Eskimo or whatever. He's like, yeah, well, I'm an Edmonton Elk. And he fixed that pretty quick. So that's my fan rant. And hey, man, much respect and much love to anybody that wants to use whatever name for this team. But we're not going to be pushing that narrative too much. We got to report the Double E news as it comes up, right? But we're not going to be fueling any fires. Let's put it that way. We're the Elks Herd. We may have to rebrand at some point. That's something that we're going to get to once we have to. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But rest assured, we're still always going to be your home for Double E fan talk. The end of fan rant. But yeah, that's I think that's an episode, Catherine. Right?
Yeah.
I think we're going to close it at that.
Yeah. Let's go. I'm not touching that one.
Yeah. Well, you came in as an Elks fan, so I mean, you've already said you don't have too much to speak on that one, anyways. But like I said, right, respectfully, and to each their own. And I know that people are always going to love that name and always going to love that brand. Name may change at some point. For today, we're the Elks Herd, and we're going to celebrate Double E's the same. It's all green and gold football to us.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
All
right, everybody. You have reached the end of today's episode. Can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. This was a fantastic one. Lots of fans in the chat. Fantastic. Double E fans. So, yeah, guys, once again, if you want to check us out at the Elks Herd on social media, check us out. Give us a like and subscribe over at Shotgun Sports Network. That's all for us tonight. Mm-hmm. So from the Elks Herd, my name is Scout, a.k.a. the rep from Section X.
And I'm Catherine, a.k.a. Divan Elks.
We are the Elks Herd. This was the Elks Call, and we'll check everybody Friday Night Lights at Commonwealth Stadium. Edmonton Elks, BC Lions. We'll see you there. Stall 182, 3 hours before the game. Get some of that Herdy's Diner in ya. Go Elks. Good night. Bye, everybody.